what were you doing before?
Before I met Shri Mataji, I was a student, and I happened to be going to, with John, we were going to a yoga class. I just decided I'd wanted to get fit, so we went to a hatha yoga class. And the girl who was running the class had seen a poster of Shri Mataji. I hadn't seen it, but I think you'd seen a poster, no? Anyway, she'd seen a poster of Shri Mataji, or she knew something about Shri Mataji, and she said, I've heard of this lady. She said, I've heard she's very good. Would you like to come along? So we said, well, yes, all right then. So we went along, not knowing anything about what we were going to, just because this girl had said, I think she's very good. So we went along, and we went to Dr. Johnson House in Birmingham, and it was 1988. And was it? Yes, 1978. Sorry, 78. Yeah, 78.
So were you and John married then, or?
No, we weren't married. We were going out with each other.
No, I was just wondering.
And so we went and we sat down, and there were probably about 30 people in the room, maybe, from what I remember, about 30. And Shri Mataji started talking, and I thought, well, I really like what this lady's saying. She seems very, very genuine, and she's struck a chord in me. Yes. So I liked what she was saying, and then she gave realisation, and I can't exactly remember what she did, but I remember she came down, and she came down to every single person, and she worked on everybody in the room. And she came to me, and she said, you must say the Lord's Prayer 3 times to yourself. And then she moved on and worked on somebody else. And then she came back to me after a while, and then she put her hand above my head and she said, you've got it. And I sort of looked at her and I thought, well, what have I got? Because I couldn't feel anything, actually. I didn't feel cool breeze, and I didn't feel vibrations. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel different. I didn't feel thoughtless even. Yes. So I thought, after she left and, she was working on people, I thought, well, this is, it all sounds very nice, but obviously it's not for me. So, at that point I thought, well, it's a shame. But and then we got to the end of the meeting, and I can't remember who it was, but it might have been Bala, who said, everybody here, would you like to come up, and would you like to come and kiss Shri Mataji's feet? So we all got up, and we just stood in a line, and we went to kiss Shri Mataji's feet. Wow. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think, I'm not doing that, or yes, that would be really great. I just thought, okay then. So we all stood in a line, and we kissed Shri Mataji's feet. I think I remember her putting her hand on my back when she did that. So that was that experience, but I went home not feeling anything. I didn't feel vibrations at all. But I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, I went downstairs. I went out to get a paper, and I remember walking along the street, actually feeling completely different. And I remember thinking, I feel slightly drunk. Mm-hmm. I was walking along feeling very lightheaded and thinking, well, something must have happened last night. So that was. You got it. So I thought, well, I must have got something. Yeah. And do you want me to talk about what happened that day?
Yes, please.
So that day, previously John had asked the person who was organising the meeting if we could see Shri Mataji again. And he said, yes, you can come to my house. And it was Bala, and he was living in Tamworth at the time. So we both went that day, the Sunday, the day after we got our realisation, to Bala's house in Tamworth. And we walked into the living room. It was just a little semi-detached house, in modern semi-detached in Tamworth. And we walked in, and there were a few people there, probably sort of 15, 20 people, I think. And we came in, and I remember seeing there were a couple of armchairs, and obviously one chair was set up for Shri Mataji to sit in, and there's one next to it, and I said, was anybody sitting in that one? They said no, so I went and sat in it. It's a little embarrassing now. So I just sat it, and I sat in, and I put my feet up, and I, and Shri Mataji came in and sat in her chair, and she turned to me, and I was sort of right next to her like this, and she said to me, can you feel the vibrations? Put your hands out. Can you feel the vibrations? I said, no. And she said, put your hand above your head. And so I did that. Can you feel the vibrations now? And she said, and I said, No. And she just laughed, you know, and she went on to the next person. So I obviously, I should have been feeling something, but I wasn't. And I can't remember a lot about that meeting, but I do remember Shri Mataji went and she addressed everybody in the room. They were all sitting on the floor, and she said to one girl who was just sitting there and not doing anything, she said, "You must forgive your father." And this girl just burst into tears. She suddenly just burst into tears. And I think she said something like, you have to respect your parents. You may not like them, but you have to respect them, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was that. That was the end of that experience, really.
Great. John, you were with Francis in these two meetings. What were the